Welcome back from the coffee, everyone. I hope you've defrosted a little bit, caffeinated a lot, perhaps. I was hoping that the music would stay on so we could ballet onto the stage for a little bit of entertainment. But barring that, I'd like to really offer you a warm welcome back, and thank you very much to our hosts. It's wonderful to be in Malaysia on this special election day, as been discussed before me. I'd like to thank the Bank of Negara Malaysia for the warm hospitality. Personally, it's my first time here, and it's been a wonderful stay. Thank you to IFAD, the World Bank, and other partners for hosting this event. I participated in the GFRID in New York, and it's been really wonderful to see how the global narrative on remittances is really taking shape. The agenda is growing stronger across the globe, and it's really a lot due to the hard work of partners and colleagues across the board and in this room. So I'm delighted again to be here and to thank my panelists, my fellow panelists, for being here with me. Ms. Pok has already introduced them, and so I'd really like to just focus on a moment on the purpose of today's workshop and plenary session, which is really regulating the remittance market and focusing on emerging issues. The past 2 days have done a really great job at looking at the private sector. Today we're focusing at the public sector, regulatory forces, regulatory powers, and I'm really delighted to be here with the panel. We have 4 objectives for our session today. The first one is to identify issues and emerging risks to the remittance market that are becoming the focus of regulators and respective countries. The second one is to share insights on the regulatory approach to effectively mitigate the risks that arise from the developments in the market. The third is to discuss challenges in implementing regulatory approaches adopted by regulators for the remittance market. And the fourth is to discuss how regulatory bodies can ensure effective collaboration at country and international level. So we'll be covering quite a bit. I've asked each one of our panelists to provide some introductory remarks for 5 to 7 minutes from their own perspective. And then I welcome any questions either through the typed up system where I'll see them popping up here on the screen, or if you like, please raise your hand and we'll go to you to make it as interactive. We share expertise on stage, off stage, and it would be wonderful to have a dialogue. So without further ado, I'd like to turn over to Mr. Nutt from the National Bank of Thailand.
Thank you, and good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank IFAD, the World Bank, as well as the Bank of Malaysia for the invitation to me to this esteemed global forum here in Kuala Lumpur. Again, my name is Nutt Lumbikananda, and I'm the Director of the Foreign Administration and Policy Department at the Bank of Thailand. And my responsibility is in the area of foreign exchange control for both banks and as well as non-banks. And my department do 3 things in the area of Exchange Control Act, which are supervision, examination, and licensing. And yes, we do licensing to both money changers and money transfer here in Thailand. And just a little bit of background, if you want to do the cross-border money transfer here in Thailand, you need to have 2 licenses. One is the license under the Payment System Act, and another one is the license under the Exchange Control Act, which is from my department. Okay, clearly, the Bank of Thailand is now embarking or studying on the new roadmap for both money changer as well as the money transfer, or in short, we call MC and MT, with the prime intended outcome of effectively lowering the cost of transactions, especially for those small and medium enterprise or the SME in doing their businesses. Again, given the fast-growing pace of the fintech companies, with the advanced technology in engaging in the money service business, we, the Bank of Thailand, also understand that this is the right time for us to review the future of both MC and MT business for the benefits of customers. And in fact, many fintech companies also came to share ideas with us, and we found out that most of their ideas goes beyond our current regulations. However, given the methods and also as the technologies that they use, and we believe that they might help minimizing the market freeze in some degree. And for some fintech companies with unfamiliar technologies, we may enter them into our future regulatory sandbox so that we can monitor them and their service closely before open to public. With respect to migrant workers, in Thailand, we have migrant workers from our neighboring countries, and they do send money back to their homeland on the weekly or the monthly basis. And we learned that most of them prefer to use the informal channel. And in our new roadmap for the money service business, we also study the barriers for those unserved migrants for them to enter into the formal channel. And initially, we wish to promote some competition of the book transfer in servicing of those migrant workers. And for those migrant workers, again, from what we found, not only the cost of transaction that matter them most, we also found that the channels of picking up the money in their home countries also play a major role in this regard. And also, because the informal remittance service, they do the money delivering effectively, we have to admit that since they use the door-to-door style. And I just learned also that some even also offer the advance payment to the migrant workers' family if those migrant workers experience the late payment of the salary from the employer in Thailand. For the past few months that I have been involved in drafting the roadmap, there are some challenges or some concerns from the perspective of the regulators and also for those service providers that I would like to share here. First, I think that most of the fintech companies, mostly they plan to use the eKYC for the customer. However, clearly in Thailand, the eKYC standard is not yet finalized. So we let those newcomers to talk directly to the AMLO or the anti-money laundering office so that in the future, if we amend the law, they can do the eKYC accordingly. And second, from the viewpoint of regulators, the financial landscapes is also playing the major roles because this is the financial landscape of banks versus the non-banks. For example, when a particular company engaging in different kinds of money businesses, those businesses are normally supervised by different rules and regulations. However, if we combine all those money business, like we combine all the jigsaws, and if in total we found that the whole business look alike, those companies are doing something like the banking business, and hence we may need to supervise that particular company differently. On my third point, we found that the more we apply more relaxation, the more we need to look into the consumer protection as well, especially when the new kind of unfamiliar techniques or technologies involved. But again, consumer protection normally comes with the common cost to the service provider. So that may jeopardize the intended outcome of minimizing or lowering the cost of transaction. So in this case, we may need to find the right balance as well. And my fourth point is that this is the challenge to the service provider. No matter how advanced technology the company uses, the financial literacy for the customer is extremely necessary. In Thailand, we found that most migrant workers they all have the mobile phones, but in general, they are unfamiliar with using their mobiles for the cross-border remittance. Another point that I would like to add is that the channel of picking up money in their homeland of the migrant workers, where the receivers are normally being entertained by the door-to-door style. On the fifth point, for the regulator, the consumer data privacy standard should be strengthening to ensure that all these data are not used improperly. And on my sixth point, the regulators must engage all the stakeholders to ensure the complete information before we making decisions. And from my experience, however, sometimes they have quite the opposite views. For example, when we talk to banks, normally they have opposite view toward those non-banks, or probably from the current players to the newcomers. They don't have any. Normally, they don't have the clear view or the agreeable views on the future. And lastly, for the regulators, how can we ensure that our new regulation that we are going to relax has already support all the latest and future developments in the market? This is quite a challenge because still for us, we cannot amend the law on a daily basis. Hence, all newcomers, they have to share their future plans to us so that we can amend the rules and regulations to open for those new things properly. That's all from myself. I think that that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to say thank you to the committee, especially our colleague from Bank Negara, to invite us to share our experience and our thought on what we will do in the future. As the background, some of you probably know that Indonesia is an archipelago country. We have more than 17,000 islands. It's difficult for us and for the provider to provide the channel, the option in the last mile. So we had more than 9 million migrant workers, mostly in Malaysia, Saudi, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. Some of them is illegal. Therefore, we cannot find the exact data how much the remittance business. Most of the migrant workers, they blue collar. They work in the agriculture, manufacturing, domestic helper, and the infrastructure. However, they send the money back home regularly, monthly. Most of them have a bank account. Some of them unbanked. Who have the bank account, some of them inactive, because it's difficult to access the formal financial service. And currently, what bank inform us, the level of the financial inclusion index of Indonesia, 49%. For us, this is challenging, and for the market, this is the opportunity for the business. Now look at the issue from the migrant worker perspective. They love to use the informal way, the hawala. Because of what? That's the fit for them. They will follow what their friends habit, or asking their agent who assist them to go abroad. Since the level of the literacy is quite low, they love to come to the formal financial remittance services together, and especially in the weekend. That's the typically of them. And the remote area, they use the agent, or asking their friend, go back home, this is the money, we provide the ticket for you, and give our money to our family. Now look at from the family perspective, who receive the fund. It's difficult for them to get the money. It takes time for them to go to the nearest formal financial services. And when they get the money, they love to spend it all. Consumptive way. Then they spend it. They love to get the money in hand. It's like a miracle. Now look at the way the the remittance business that we found currently. The charge is quite high to Indonesia compared to the average level, the global level, 7.59. If far from 5, multiple 5 or the World Bank program. And the most model, cash in and cash out model, not ending in the account. That's our issue. So what we done so far? We believe remittance is the entry point for the financial inclusion. Therefore, we put remittance as part of our financial inclusion program. What we do first, provide so many point of service by introducing the agent. We rely on innovation by bringing technology and human-centered design concept. The agent can serve them close to their home. We bring the financial services in front of their house to open the account, to save the money, to withdraw the money, or asking for the loan, or asking for the insurance. The next one that we done so far, we just updated our anti-money laundering and terrorist financing regulation. We accommodate the technology. We allow digital registration and tiering the account. CDD, simple CDD, we introduced that one. However, the provider want to do it should have risk management in place. That's the precondition. Next, we also upgrade our payment system infrastructure. We call it the National Payment Gateway, that enable interoperability and interconnection among the player, among the payment service provider, and among or between the products. Let's say from saving account to the electronic money. So now the family can receive fund using their electronic money account. We also encourage the market to use the mobile phone, because all the migrant workers have mobile phone. This is the only way for them to connect with their family. So for the future, we believe that competitive is one key. Second, bring the technology, but the proper one. Not very exciting technology. Next, what the priority for our need, for our economy, for our people. We follow what happened in the trend, including the blockchain and Bitcoin. We learn it, but this is not really our priority, because the same feature, the same service provided by the blockchain is still in the traditional way. We're talking about speed, we have the real time. Talking about the affordable cost, there is another mobile phone can be used. In this digital era, the risk that we think that we need to thinking about, the same as what Fateh said, is there still money laundering and terrorist financing. Probably we should move to the supervision by technology, but it takes time to implement it, or for the player by using the regulatory technology, but still time and capital to use it. And especially for the remittance provider. Very fragmented, very small player in the area, it's still difficult for them. The next one is how to creating the more robust coordination among the stakeholder with the industry and also international, our colleague from the regulator. It seems we need to move to the 2.0 to provide the better life, better user-friendly remittance process for the migrant worker. We can create a prototype, we can do the pilot, bring to the sandbox, and then we can replicate it. And the last one, we need to share the data and the necessary information among us to mitigate and to reduce the risk. I think that's from Indonesia case that we can share for you. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, let me join our colleague from WTs and BI to thanks to the organizer for inviting us the opportunity to be here. So I'm very glad to join this group of on remittance. So first of all, as part of from Indonesia, which is a country having a lot of islands. Cambodia is a landlocked country. And our total population is around 15 million. And as you can see, we have a migrant workforce around 1.5 million. The official figure is 1.5 million. And around 90% is in Thailand. Our migrant workforce work in Thailand, 19%. The rest, including Malaysia, here is around 50,000 people, and another in Korea, around another 15,000 people, and the rest is a very small number. So you can see is that in terms of policy action, which destination that you can work toward to have those migrant workers, probably the best corridor is Thailand. What is policy challenge that we should do to address the issue in regard to our migrant workers in Thailand? So for the in terms of remittance values for cross-border remittance, is still quite low. Currently, it's still at like less than 5% of the GDP. This is for cross-border transfer. But in terms of domestic transfer, we have, like being mentioned yesterday, like for domestic transfer, we have a huge value of domestic transfer, which is still at around 50% of the GDP. It's a very large amount of domestic transfer in compared to the cross-border remittance. In terms of operator, right now, commercial banks still play a significant role in cross-border remittance, along with their money transfer operators like MoneyGram and Western Union. But for those banking operators, they need to have a banking license, and MTO, we still require them to have what we call the third-party processor, which is the license that they with the license that allow them to operate in a tied to the bank. Recently, in 2016, we issued a new regulation, which what we call the payment service institution. And this payment service institution allows the operator to operate in many areas, including remittance space, as well as fintech in the payment space. Just want to highlight a bit of the issue why we come to this issue of changing the regulation over time. We introduced the banking law back in 1999, which allowed the commercial bank to operate and providing remittance service. And until 2010, soon after the introduction of PIN in our country, we issued a new regulation which what we call a third-party processor. But there is a drawback in this regulation because we allow the operator can only allow us as attached to the bank and require bank as a guarantor for the full operation. So for the newcomer, it's very challenging for them. And in 2016, to open up our market and to promote competition, we issued a new regulation, which what we call third-party processor. And there's also a lot of issues. There were a lot of issues for our consideration. The first one is on the permissible activity. What kind of permissible activity that we should allow in our countries. So as in the past, only banks and MTO operated, and the issue for us is that these two bank and MTO operated, the remittance cost is very high. So we want to promote competition. That's why we create another segment of the market for the operator. The issue is on the access to the payment system structure. As you may know, only the infrastructure that we have in the countries is only commercial bank can have access to our payment system infrastructure, while as the non-bank cannot access to the that infrastructure. So the new regulation allow not only bank but all sort of payment service providers to access to that infrastructure, so that once this operator have a chance to join with the central infrastructure, there is a high possibility that they might come up with a new business model that can reduce the cost and also reduce or also increase the access point to the remittance to all those who want to use the remittance services. So yeah, there is also consideration as well. One, we move to that, especially with regard to the issue of AML and CFT. What are the issues with regard to that? Because in the past, only bank allow for the remittance service, and the AML CFT issue, they pretty much allow the guideline regulation, AML CFT guideline for the banking sector. What can we do for the new service provider? And then in that we until today, so the issue for us is that since we don't know what is the scheme or that might potentially induce, that might potentially abuse on the case of AML CFT issue, we require all the remittance operator or payment service institution to follow the same way the AML CFT guideline as the banking institution. The other issue is